Forget New Year, New You. This season is about slowing down, locking the doors, and cozying up at home with the one you really want to do nothing with. Your dog. After the holiday chaos, those quiet nights with a blanket, a podcast, and your pup feel like the reset you actually need. Ollie helps make those moments easier with fresh protein-packed meals made from real human-grade ingredients, so your dog can enjoy some quality comfort food too. Choose from 5 recipes and get a personalized plan for your dog's needs. Meals arrive perfectly proportioned with a scoop and storage container, so serving is fast and mess-free. And with Ollie's in-app on-demand health screenings, supporting your dog is easy, ensuring more cuddles for many years to come. Visit ollie.com/truecrime and use code TRUECRIME for 60% off your first box.
On September 19th, 2024, 33-year-old Leslie Dale Boileau, an active Marion County Sheriff's deputy, and his girlfriend Polina Wright went out to dinner. It was a Thursday night. They went to a local Mexican restaurant and had 3 margaritas each. When they got back to Dale's house, they put on a football game and settled in for what was supposed to be an ordinary evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, that evening ended in a way that was anything but ordinary. It ended in a way that should never have happened. It ended in Polina Wright's death.
25-year-old Polina Wright was shot and killed that night. The shooter, her boyfriend. This is Jillian in partnership with Law and Crime. You are listening to Court Junkie. I'm not going to lie. By the time I go to bed at night, I am exhausted. I don't want to blame my 2-year-old for that, but if you know, you know. Thankfully, I don't have to go too far to relax. I can escape into my warm, comfy bed with my Boll & Branch signature sheets. And ever since I added their coveted waffle blanket, my bed is now my sanctuary. Boll & Branch's signature sheets and waffle bed blanket are a must-have bedding combination. The signature sheet set, as I've talked about before, is essential, with its buttery soft feel that gets softer with every wash. And then you have the waffle bed blanket, which is soft and light. Together, they create the softest, most breathable bedding experience designed for better sleep in every season. Both are woven by artisans with the finest 100% organic cotton and highest level of craftsmanship. Both are made to get softer with every wash, and both are designed to mix and match with over 300 color combinations. Best of all, they are yours to try with a 30-night worry-free guarantee. Now that I've got this combo on my bed, I will never go back. You can tell immediately how high quality Boll & Branch is, and I really do think my sleep has improved. Discover a softness beyond your wildest dreams with Boll & Branch. Get 15% off your first order plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com/court with the code COURT. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND branch.com/court, code COURT to unlock 15% off. Exclusions apply. Court Junkie is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. About a year after Polina Wright's death, her boyfriend, Leslie Dale Boileau, went on trial. Assistant State Attorney Rich Buxman described for a jury in October 2025 what happened when Dale fired his weapon that night.
And that intentional act, that decision to pull the trigger, caused a projectile to travel down the barrel of a rifle, strike the victim in the forehead, travel through her brain, exited the back of her skull, and lodge itself in the kitchen wall directly behind her head. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why we're here, and that's why the defendant is charged with manslaughter.
Prosecutor Buxman told the jury that there was no evidence that Dale planned a murder or intentionally killed Polina. He said Dale isn't charged with first-degree murder. He said there was also no evidence of any argument or fight, that Dale wasn't acting in hatred or spite or ill will towards Polina. and so he isn't charged with second-degree murder either.
The evidence you're going to hear is that the defendant, assuming a rifle was unloaded, pointed it at another person and intentionally pulled the trigger, causing the death of Polina Wright. That's why he's charged with manslaughter.
A little before 11 p.m. that evening, Dale called 911 to report that he had accidentally shot his girlfriend.
Ocala police officers arrived on scene pretty quickly. They went inside the house, and there they found Polina Wright sitting in a chair at a dining room table. She had a gunshot wound to her forehead, dead center of her forehead. She was naked. There was a blanket covering the bottom half of her body. And she was sitting at that dining room table. Officers immediately noticed a large pool of blood at her feet and some blood spatter as a result of a gunshot wound around the area.
He said Dale quickly told the officers that Polina had a gun in her lap, his service weapon. They removed it and put it aside. That gun was unloaded. On the table, along with some gun cleaning supplies, was an AR-style rifle, along with some loaded magazines, some boxes of ammunition, and some live rounds. Prosecutor Buxman said the officers wanted some room to work, and so they took that table where she was seated and kind of shifted it over to the wall and moved some of the chairs around. He told the jury that when the officers had first arrived, Dale was behind Polina, holding her head stationary. One of the officers then switched positions with him so he could hold her head while Dale was escorted outside. When EMS arrived, they determined that they couldn't save her. Polina Wright was dead. As Dale was outside with the officers, he made some statements about what had happened.
He told the officer, "I was cleaning the guns. We were pointing them at each other. She said, 'I want you to teach me how to use them.' We were pointing them at each other, and mine went off." He admitted to being the one holding that AR-style rifle at the time it was fired, and at the time the victim was killed. He said, "I know it looks really bad." And during the next several minutes on scene, he continued to make statements such as, "I know better. I know better. This should not have been happening. I should not have let this happen."
Dale was transported to the Ocala Police Department, where a more formal interview was done. After being read his rights, he agreed to tell them what happened.
He told the detective that the victim, when they got home, took off her clothes, which she occasionally did when they were at home in the privacy of their own home, and they sat at that dining room table across from each other. And the defendant started cleaning the guns with his new gun cleaning supplies that he got from Amazon. He told the detective that he was cleaning that AR-style rifle, and you're going to hear that that AR-style rifle had a sight on it that you look through, and it was a red dot sight, meaning that when you look through the sight, there's a red dot that is projected onto the target exactly where that bullet will go when the gun is fired. It's similar to a laser sight. The only difference is in a laser sight, when you activate the laser, everyone can see where that laser is, kind of like a pointer. But with a red dot, you look through the sight in order to see that red dot where the gun is going to fire and where the target is. The defendant said he finished cleaning the AR-style rifle, and he put the magazine, the loaded magazine, in that rifle. And at about that time, the victim, Ms. Wright, reached and grabbed the 9mm Glock handgun. The defendant said he then reached over, took the 9mm from the victim, unloaded it, took the magazine out, and gave it back to her. The defendant admitted then he took possession of that rifle, that AR rifle, now with the magazine inserted in it, and he said that they began to do what he called training exercises. They began to dry fire the weapons. By dry fire, what he explained was that when an unloaded weapon, you pull the trigger, it clicks because there's nothing in it to shoot. And if you reset that trigger and charge that weapon, if it's unloaded, the gun will click. We pull the trigger and it clicks again. So what the defendant indicated that he did was he dry fired that AR-style rifle, reset the trigger by charging the gun, which then loaded a round into the chamber. And while that firearm was pointed at the victim, he pulled the trigger the second time.
He said that decision, that intentional act of pulling the trigger the second time, now with a loaded firearm, caused that gun to discharge and kill Polina.
Detective Kern asked the defendant, so during this training that you're describing, you were pointing the guns at each other? And the defendant said, yeah. No, I shouldn't have been doing that. That should not have happened. This is my fault.
He told the jury that the evidence will show that Dale broke the number one rule of firearm safety: never point a gun at somebody unless you're going to use it.
At the end of this case, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to ask you to find the defendant guilty of manslaughter. We're going to ask you to do that because that's what the evidence will have proven beyond any reasonable doubt. And that's what the law will require.
In his opening statements, Dale's attorney told the jury that in the 911 call, Dale immediately says, "I just had an accidental discharge." He said Dale said it in a very stressed and frantic voice.
Those were Dale Boileau's first words to the 911 operator while holding Polina, his girlfriend of 2 years, seconds after he accidentally shot her. The charge, the entire case, is based on the circumstances surrounding how Polina Wright was shot. And the evidence in this case will make it fairly clear that the only reason that the law enforcement officers who investigated this case and the prosecutors who filed it would know anything at all about what happened is because Dale told.
He said nothing Dale told them was inconsistent with the evidence they found.
And the evidence will show that he consistently told them that it was an accident.
He said the first time Dale said that they were pointing the guns at each other was moments after being rushed out of the house in the company of 6 or 7 uniformed officers, while he was nearly hyperventilating, crying, screaming Paulina's name, and throwing himself on the ground.
In the midst of that, what happened, man? We were pointing the guns at each other and it went off. Not one of them asked him to describe that. What does that mean? Pointing the guns at each other and it went off. Nobody asked. More importantly, nobody ever asked him how the shooting actually occurred.
He said since Dale and Polina were seated across from each other, the weapons were, of course, going to be pointed in opposite directions.
And he never said he pointed the rifle at Polina and intentionally pulled the trigger. He never said that.
As far as any alcohol Dale had, he said alcohol was really not a factor in what happened that night.
State says he pulled the trigger while pointing the weapon at the victim. But they will present absolutely no evidence that will tell you exactly what was going on at the point that trigger was pulled. And they can't, because no one asked him.
He said the detective only spoke to Dale for 16 minutes and 13 seconds after Dale had been waiting in the interview room in a metal chair for over an hour.
About 4.5 hours later, he came back again. And the second time, he spoke with Dale for 11 minutes and 13 seconds, and then left the room again. And then about an hour and a half after that, the detective came back in the room with an evidence technician, had her photograph Mr. Boileau and take his clothes, and then told him he was being placed under arrest without bothering to talk to him again. He was interviewed for a total of 27 minutes and 26 seconds. And he was in that interview room for over 8 hours. From midnight until nearly 9 o'clock the next morning. But they still will be unable to give you any evidence that explains what happened when the trigger was pulled.
He pointed to the prosecutors and said that when they're done presenting their evidence, the jury would not know exactly how Polina Wright was shot.
There's nothing in the evidence they're going to present that's going to answer that question because they didn't ask. After they've finished and I've had a chance to present evidence and I rest my case and sit down, you're going to know exactly what happened at the moment Polina Wright was killed. Exactly how this horrible, tragic accident actually happened. An accident that has destroyed 2 families and that has haunted Dale Boileau since it happened and basically destroyed his life.
One of my favorite sayings is, life is a daring adventure or nothing at all. It reminds me to take more chances and to get out of my comfort zone, like the time I went ziplining in Puerto Rico through some incredibly tall mountains. But one thing I'm not very adventurous about is my nutrition. I can't stand not knowing what the ingredients are in the products I consume nowadays. But when I look at the supplements in our kitchen cabinet, it's hard to know what I can trust. Is this a filler ingredient? Are these artificial ingredients going to harm me? Enter Kachava, an all-in-one nutrition shake crafted with the highest quality ingredients. No artificial flavors, colors, or sweeteners. Non-GMO, no soy, no animal products, no gluten, and no preservatives. Just 2 scoops provide 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, adaptogens, and so much more. And it tastes pretty darn delicious. They have your trusty chocolate and vanilla flavors, but also have chai, matcha, coconut acai, and strawberry. I've been going through all the flavors, and so far I think chocolate is my sweet spot. I like to add a tiny bit of peanut butter to it, add some ice, and pop it in my blender, and it tastes like a dessert. So good. Before I tried it, one of my friend's husbands was saying how he noticed a change in his energy since he started taking it about a year ago. And I have to say, he wasn't kidding. My energy levels have definitely improved, but I've also noticed some other benefits too, like with my digestion. Try Kachava risk-free with their Love It guarantee. Rewild your nutrition at kachava.com and use the code COURT. New customers get $20 off an order of 2 bags or more, now through the 31st. That's Kachava, KACHAVA.com, code COURT. I'm about to tell you something pretty embarrassing. A few months back, I started using Rocket Money to help track my expenses because admittedly, I am not very good at finances. And I discovered some shocking things about what I was spending that I didn't even realize I was spending. One example is a kids app that I had on my phone, not the free version, but a paid version that my daughter, when she was super little, used to play with, but that I hadn't touched in, let's just say, a very long time. It was connected to my bank account and took money out every month, and for whatever reason, I didn't even notice it. Unfortunately, that wasn't the only one. But fortunately, those are gone now, thanks to Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Not only can Rocket Money track your subscriptions and lets you cancel within the app with just a few taps, but you can also set goals and budgets, get personalized insights and regular reports, and get real-time alerts for anything noteworthy, like large transactions, upcoming bills, or low balances. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/court. That's rocketmoney.com/court. rocketmoney.com/court. The 911 call Leslie Dale Boileau placed was played for the jury after the opening statements. You'll notice the dispatcher mistakenly refers to him as ma'am.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
I just had an accidental discharge.
What was that, ma'am?
Accidental discharge of a firearm.
Okay, ma'am, and what's going to be the address for this?
327 Southeast 32nd Ave.
And can you repeat it one more time?
Damn it! No! No, no, no!
Ma'am?
No! Oh, my God! No!
Ma'am, what happened?
Me and my girlfriend was cleaning my gun, and we were trading it back and forth, and I didn't know it was loaded, and I fucking shot her. No! I need an ambulance right now, please.
All right, ma'am, we're getting help on the way, okay?
Please. Oh, my God! No! No!
Ma'am, I need you to take a deep breath. We're getting help on the way.
I'm gonna... No, please! God damn it, I lost! No! 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 Oh, my God!
Ma'am, I need you to take a deep breath. We're getting help on the way, okay?
327 Southeast 32nd Ave, please. No, oh my God. I don't. No, God. Damn it.
The dispatcher continued to tell him that help was on the way.
No, my God. I'm sorry, babe. I love you. No. No, no, no. I need help right now.
We're already getting help on the way, ma'am.
I love you. God damn it, no.
When asked if she was breathing or awake, Dale said, no, she's shot in the head. God damn it.
Ma'am, is she obviously deceased?
I don't want to say that. No, babe, no. I don't think she is. I can still feel a pulse. Hurry up.
All right.
I'll have
All
that.
right, ma'am. And where in the head was she shot? The front, the side, where?
Forehead. The front, the forehead. No. 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 Oh, my God. No.
We're already getting help on the way, okay?
Oh.
Dale told the dispatcher the door is unlocked and kept urging him to hurry up.
No.
All right.
My God.
Ma'am, I need you to put the gun away and let me know when it's secure.
They're away. They're unloaded. They're away.
And as of right now, is she awake?
No, she's unconscious.
Is she
I
breathing?
need help right now. Please, I need help.
Ma'am, is she breathing?
No. I don't think so. I need help.
We're already getting help on the way, ma'am.
I need help right now. No. No. No, no, no. God damn it. No. No. No.
One of the first officers to respond to the scene told the jury what he saw when he arrived.
When I walked in, the defendant was holding the victim's head and screaming, no, no.
Okay, and how was the victim positioned?
The victim was sitting in a chair with her back facing the wall.
What was done to try to assess and treat the victim?
She was, officers took a look at her. I'm not exactly sure. That was Officer Coughlin, I believe.
What was the last thing you said? I'm sorry.
Officer Coughlin.
Okay. And what did Officer Coughlin do?
Officer Coughlin checked her for injuries.
Okay. And did you see any injuries on her?
I did.
What did you see?
I saw a gunshot wound in the center of the forehead.
At some point, did Officer Coughlin assume holding the victim's head stationary?
Yes.
How'd that happen?
I believe the defendant was asked to walk away. She began to fall down, and Officer Coughlin grabbed her head.
He was asked to describe the rifle.
The rifle did not have a magazine. It was an AR-15 style, and it had a red dot sight mounted on it.
And for those jurors who may have no knowledge of firearms at all, describe, you said there was no magazine in it.
Mm-hmm.
What's a magazine?
Magazine is the part of the weapon that contains the ammunition. It's detachable from the bottom. It sticks out the bottom, and it can be removed.
Okay. Is that where the projectiles and the ammunition is loaded into?
Yes, sir.
He said he put gloves on and removed the firearm that was sitting in Polina's lap.
What kind of firearm was that?
It was a Glock handgun.
Describe the condition of that gun.
The slide was forward. It did not have a magazine.
How was the victim dressed or covered?
The victim was naked.
Okay. Did she have anything covering any part of her body?
Not that I can remember.
He said in order to give EMS better access to the scene, the officers pushed the table from the center of the dining room to the side. The officer's body camera was played for the court. It was a chaotic scene, but Dale's voice can be heard pretty clearly.
Please, no!
Somebody's over here.
She has water. I don't know why we're fucking doing this. She kept trying to fucking teach me. No! I didn't want her to fucking be doing. God damn it!
I'm just gonna watch it. Yeah. I don't want to move it for evidentiary.
No! Larry, coming down. Get away. No. Fuck.
On cross, the officer agreed that Dale was frantic and distraught when he arrived, and that Dale immediately pointed out where the guns were, on the table and on Paulina's lap. Sergeant Brandon Sorley's body camera was also played for the jury. He was one of the officers who spoke with Dale outside of his house.
What did you see happen?
I was cleaning the guns. We were pointing them at each other.
During the cleaning process, or what was going on?
She was like, I want you to teach me how to use them. I want you to teach me how to use them. I was like, okay, we will. We were pointing them at each other, and mine went off.
And you were holding the AR? Yes. All right. Just gonna hold what we got.
I know it looks really fucking bad. I didn't fucking want this to happen. I told her I did not want this to happen. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to fucking train her in the fucking house like this. Because she has no fucking gun experience. God damn it.
Hey, do you have you want to drop the tailgate that you can just have a seat? There we go. Yeah,
how is she doing?
I don't know. I'm out here with you, man. I know the medics are in there. They're working on her now, okay?
You work for MCSO? Yes. Yeah. How long you been with MCSO now? 8 years. 8 years.
Fuck, I know better. Oh, God damn it. I can't believe this is happening.
Are the roads cleared up for them to get through?
I know fucking better. Why the fuck was I doing? No.
Dale pounded the back of his car with his fist.
I take it you're A company with MCSO?
Yes.
Yeah.
They pronounced it. Fuck. No. No, we were having a good fucking night. Why did I let this happen? I should not have let this happen. Fuck. Why did I let this happen? I should have never let her. Oh.
He continued to scream no and bang on the car with his fists.
No!
Sir, what was your name again? Sorry.
Leslie Boileau.
Leslie.
Dale Boileau, Jr.
Boileau?
Boileau.
Boileau?
Boileau.
Okay. Boileau. How's that spelled?
Boileau. I can get you my ID.
I'm sorry, he probably already.
Boileau.
Boileau. Boileau.
Yes.
No, I fucking love her, he screamed a little later in the video. Kristen Killinger, a crime lab analyst, described to the jury how the rifle was fired.
Yes, so this firearm has a magazine, which is kind of like a container that holds the cartridges. The magazine will be inserted right here into this hole. And then from there, you would pull back on this charging handle right here. You pull back and release. And in doing that, it will cock the firearm as well as chamber the first round from the top of the magazine. It will strip the cartridge off the top of the magazine and place it into the chamber of the firearm. From there, the trigger is ready to be pulled. Once the user pulls the trigger, the firing pin will be released, and it will strike the primer, creating a spark, igniting the gunpowder inside that ammunition. The gunpowder will burn and create a lot of gas, and the gases are what push the bullet down and out the barrel. The gases will also push back on the bolt, and it will cock the firearm again, and then a spring will push the bolt back forward, stripping the next cartridge off the top of the magazine, loading the firearm, so now the trigger can be pulled again for the next shot.
Dr. Rachel Lang, the associate medical examiner who determined the cause and manner of death, testified about how the shot hit Polina's hand before striking her in the forehead.
If only, considering that one projectile was found at the scene, one casing was found at the scene, and the injuries that you saw, are the injuries and appearance of those injuries consistent with the projectile striking the outside of the victim's finger, traveling through the palm side of that finger, and then that same projectile striking her forehead?
Yes.
Did you locate any soot on either the entrance wound to the back of her finger or her forehead?
No.
What is soot?
Soot is basically burned gunpowder. So in addition to the bullet that comes out of the muzzle of a gun, there is also burned gunpowder or soot and unburned gunpowder fragments.
What does the lack of soot on the entrance wounds, either the back of her finger or her forehead, tell you about the distance of the barrel of the firearm to the injury?
The absence of soot basically means there's nothing to show that it was a close range wound. So we don't see soot. It's not consistent with the muzzle being very close to the surface of the skin where it struck.
What is meant by the term stippling?
Stippling refers to small dot-like abrasions that you can see around an entrance wound, which is caused by the unburned gunpowder fragments striking the skin.
Did you see any evidence of stippling on either the entrance wound to the back of her right finger or the entrance wound to her forehead?
No.
And what does the lack of stippling tell you about the distance of the barrel of the firearm that shot that projectile from the wound?
Yeah. So again, we see stippling when the muzzle of the gun is close enough to the skin for those unburned gunpowder fragments to actually reach the skin. So we only see that up to, in general, from a few inches to about 1.5 feet or 2 feet.
After just one day of testimony, the state rested their manslaughter case against Leslie Dale Boileau. When it was the defense's turn, Dale went up to the stand to testify.
How old are you, Dale?
33.
Are you employed right now?
I am.
What are you doing for a living?
I'm working at a fabrication shop learning how to weld.
And you used to work for the Marion County Sheriff's Office. Is that
I
right?
did.
How long did you work for the sheriff?
8 years.
And you were terminated as a result of the incident that we're here about today.
I was.
He described initially meeting Polina Wright on a dating app. They then met up a few weeks later and then started seeing each other.
At the time of her death, how long had you been dating Polina?
About 2 years.
Tell us about her.
She was a great person. She was modest. She was respectful. She was loyal. She encouraged me to be a better person. She was just naturally beautiful.
He said Polina was adopted from Russia when she was 6 or 7. She had a twin sister and a brother who were adopted along with her. He said in September 2024, Polina was working as a secretary, but was transferring over to a new job.
And you said you'd been together for 2 years. Had you begun to discuss marriage at all?
We kind of joked about it, but it was obviously on the table. We were working towards that. You don't date someone for 2 years and not have that on the table, basically.
What were your living arrangements by September of 2024?
She was free to come and go as she pleased. She was still in her lease at an apartment complex, but we were actively speaking on, and it was going to be like in 3 or 4 months when her lease was up, she was going to be living with me full time.
Did she have a key to your house?
She did.
He told the jury that on the day of her death, they met up in the morning, then went out to lunch. They went to a few stores and then went back to his place and hung out there watching TV. He said they didn't have any drinks at lunch. Later, they decided to go out to a local Mexican restaurant for dinner. They ordered food and margaritas. He said it was 2 for 1 margaritas, and by the time they were done, they had 3 each. He then drove them straight home, which he said took about 5 minutes.
And what did the two of you do when you got back home?
We changed. I don't really know what she was doing. She was doing her stuff, taking care of her cat. I fed my dog. That's when I came out to the living room and put on the football game and started doing the gun stuff.
Okay. Now, you changed out of whatever you had worn to the restaurant?
Correct.
Into the clothing that we've seen on the videos?
Correct.
Okay. And Polina had a blanket on and nothing else?
Correct.
Was that normal?
At this point in the relationship, yes.
Okay. So that was typical for her once she got home and got comfortable, was to disrobe and grab a blanket?
I wouldn't say 100% of the time, but it was very common.
Okay. Did you have any more alcohol when you got back home?
No.
He called 911 at 10:52 p.m.
I'd like you to walk us through that 2.5 hour period of time from the point you got back from dinner until that call was made.
So when I came in and sat down at the dining room table, I started cleaning my rifle because I had just shot it a couple weeks prior, or within a week. I was waiting for all of my gun cleaning stuff to come in to clean that said gun. It was already all on the table. I saw it. I sat down and I started cleaning it. She was off doing other stuff in the house. And then she eventually came over and sat down and started talking to me. We weren't necessarily talking about the gun stuff. We were just hanging out. We talked about what we were going to do next week, went through a bunch of different stuff. And then she started to show interest in the gun cleaning. So I started showing her parts, handing it to her, stuff like that.
Now, was this exclusively the rifle that
Yes.
we're talking about at this point?
Yes, it was just the rifle.
Now, and we'll kind of come back to exactly what you did with the gun stuff.
Okay.
But did the two of you stay at that table the entire 2.5 hours?
No, we were up and down.
Okay. So you would get up from the table, walk some other part of the house?
Yeah, I had to use the bathroom at some point. I remember. I knew she got up and went to the bathroom at some point.
Did she get up from the table?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what she was doing when she left?
No.
Okay. So this wasn't a continuous, let's take apart and put together this.
No.
Dale, have you thought about what happened that night and the mistakes that you made?
Plenty.
Every day?
Pretty much.
What should have been different?
We should have been sitting across from each other.
Why didn't you move her?
I thought we were being safe. It was our normal spots to sit.
He acknowledged that during firearms training, no one faces each other. You face the target you're going to shoot. He agreed he had firearm training once a year.
Now, when you were talking with Detective Kern, you used the phrase dry fire exercise.
Yes.
Is that an accurate description of what you were showing Polina?
Yes.
Tell us what a dry fire exercise is and tell us that you have had to do one.
Yes, it's basically the first step to learning how to handle a firearm. It's the first thing you do in the police academy. It's really the only training and or teaching you can do inside of a house. It's basically just showing you how to hold the gun and pull the trigger.
Does it involve the sight picture on a handgun or a rifle?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did you show that to her and explain it to her?
Yes.
With that rifle?
Yes.
Did you give her something to aim at?
Yes.
What did you tell her?
The picture on the wall.
Where was the picture?
A couple feet next to me.
Okay. Behind you and away from you?
Yeah.
You didn't ask her to point the rifle at you?
No.
And you never pointed the rifle at her?
No.
And you weren't playing cops and robbers with guns?
No.
He said Polina didn't really care for the rifle. It was too heavy. He explained how he put the rifle together and laid it on the table. He said that's when she picked up his handgun that was also laying on the table. That was his off-duty weapon the sheriff's office gave him.
Well, when I was laying down the rifle, I look up and she's holding the handgun. And obviously I knew that gun was loaded because it's the one I took to dinner. So I asked her to hand it to me, which she did, and I unloaded it, and then I handed it back to her.
Okay. And how did you unload it?
Taking the magazine out and ejecting the one that's in the chamber.
And where did you put the magazine and the round you ejected?
I just set it on the table.
On your side?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was on that side of the table at that point.
Okay. Now, when you handed her the rifle, did you hand her the weapon loaded?
No.
Did she ever have the ammunition for the rifle?
No.
When you handed her the handgun, was there any ammunition with it?
No.
So that both of them were safe when you handed them to her?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do with, what did she do, and what did you show her to do with the handgun?
Well, I demonstrated first how to hold the handgun. I pointed it at the wall, like to the right of her, where the chalkboard was. Showed her how to hold it, showed her how to pull the trigger. Showed her how to work the action of the handgun, and then I handed it back to her.
Okay. Now, was all this going on because you wanted to teach her how to handle a handgun, or did she ask you to do this?
She was inquisitive. I had mentioned to her in the past that she needed to learn home defense, basically. I was like, I'd pay for a class, like I'd go with you. She made it sound like she had never touched a gun before. So I was like, there's always guns around my house because of my job. So I was like, you need to learn that type of stuff. She always kind of put it off, didn't really show any interest until that night.
He was asked how the rifle ended up back in his hands.
I remembered I didn't do a function test on it when I put it back together. I was allowing her to kind of do her thing with the handgun. I didn't want to overwhelm her. So we were just sitting there talking, and I was watching the football game.
Okay. And when you picked the rifle up, it had a magazine in it. Did it not?
Yes.
Because that's the way you had put it down.
Yeah.
Because when you put it down, did you intend to be done with it the first time? So how do you put up that weapon when it's clean and you're going to put it away?
I just put a magazine in it. I don't charge it. That's how we keep our rifles at the sheriff's office. We don't keep one in the chamber. And I typically just go store it.
And charge, what is that?
It means round in the chamber.
Okay. Does an AR-style rifle have a different sort of way to load around?
Yes.
Explain it.
It has a charging handle where a handgun has a slide. Very similar, I guess, action, you could say, but different at the same time.
So when you had put the rifle down on the table, there was no bullet in the chamber.
Correct.
And it had a full magazine.
I don't keep... The magazine can hold 30 rounds. I don't
so
keep...
you're 5 short.
Yeah, I don't keep it fully loaded.
And that's to preserve the spring in the magazine?
Yeah.
Okay. So you had 25 rounds in it?
Yes.
All right. And when you picked it back up, while she's doing the dry fire thing with the handgun, how did you hold it?
I picked it up while watching the TV, and I was holding it like this.
He demonstrated cradling it against his chest.
And what was your intention? What were you going to do with it?
I was trying.
What is this function test you're talking about?
So when you disassemble a rifle and you put it back together, you have to do a function test to ensure that you put it back together correctly. If you didn't put it back together correctly, it's not going to fire the next time you need it to fire.
All right. And describe or explain the steps in this function test.
The bolt's forward, obviously. You have to pull the trigger and hold the trigger and then charge it. Release the trigger and pull the trigger again. And you're listening for the hammer to drop on the firearm to make sure you assembled it correctly. Because if you did not assemble it correctly, it's not going to make that click sound.
So you got it cradled in your arms.
Yeah.
Barrel off to your left.
Yeah.
Okay. You're sitting across the table. And you're kind of watching TV.
Yeah.
And you said you're listening for a click. So did you either put your head down to the rifle or bring the rifle up to your head?
Both. Like, it was because I was listening more so for a sound. And you can't really see what you're looking for type of deal. It's internal.
Okay. So you have to listen.
Yeah.
When you pulled the trigger the first time, what happened?
What was supposed to happen? You heard a click.
And then when you charged it, pulled the trigger the second time.
That's when it went off.
He was asked if he was looking at Polina as he was doing that. He said no, he was looking at the TV. His attorney asked if she went back or forward when she was hit, and he said she stayed in the chair.
And did you maintain that position until the officers arrived?
Yeah.
So you were kind of cradling her head?
I didn't know what else to do.
Okay. Were you panicked at that point?
Yeah, I was freaking out.
He said he doesn't remember what he said to the police afterwards. On cross, the prosecutor wanted to clarify what he said happened.
So just to make sure, throughout most of the entire night, that AR rifle was in your possession.
Correct.
And when that gun went off, that AR rifle was in your control.
Yes.
You didn't slip. You didn't slip and fall, correct?
No.
You didn't drop the gun. You didn't drop the gun.
No.
You didn't misplace the gun or anything like that.
No.
In fact, when the gun went off, it was in your hands.
It was.
And when the gun went off, you were the one who pulled the trigger.
I was.
And when the gun went off, you were the one who intended to pull the trigger at that point in time.
Yes.
And the only reason why those firearms were out at that point in time was because you decided you wanted to clean them that evening.
I did.
And now, your AR, do you normally keep that in a gun safe at your house, or do you keep that out?
I keep it in my bedroom.
Okay. But you were the one who decided to take it out and bring it into the living or into the dining room.
It was already sitting on the dining room.
So you put it there earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. And you decided to take out those cleaning products from Amazon?
Yes.
And you decided to clean the gun?
I did.
And in fact, you told us originally Polina wasn't even anywhere near you when you cleaned that gun.
Correct.
But she later came over and she wanted to learn about the firearm.
She did.
And you decided to teach her about the firearm.
Yes.
And you decided to teach her about that firearm with loaded magazines and live ammunition sitting on that dining room table.
Yes.
He agreed that he's familiar with firearms and that one of his hobbies is hunting. The prosecutor only asked him a couple more questions before turning it back over.
And one of those things that every single year during that annual training they talk about is gun safety.
Yes.
And I know Mr. Taddy talked a little bit. Like you said, when you're at the gun range, you guys are in a straight line.
Yes.
And in fact, there's a term called a hot range and a cold range. Is that correct?
Correct.
Hot range means that guns are being fired and nobody's allowed to go downrange. Is that correct?
Yes.
And a cold range means that people are going down to check targets or people are in that area to where there's a risk, so you have to put all guns down and nobody can have a gun in their hand. Is that correct?
Correct.
And in fact, there's general rules of safety that you guys learn every year. Like you always treat a firearm if it's loaded.
Correct.
And you never point it towards another person.
Correct.
And that you should not handle firearms, especially when drinking or intoxicated.
Yes.
And that you only point a firearm as something that you intend to kill or destroy.
That's correct.
I also want to talk about these trainings. When you do these trainings, you're shooting at targets, correct?
Yes.
And when you're shooting at these targets, you aim your firearm, get a clear sight picture,
yes,
using your sights.
Yeah.
And then you pull that trigger.
Yes.
When you were sitting at that table with Polina, there was a point in time you activated that red dot sight.
Yes.
In fact, you told Detective Kernan was to show her how that sight worked.
Yes.
Show her how to get a sight picture.
Yes.
Show her how to aim at a target.
Yes.
You heard the medical examiner's testimony yesterday that when that path of that bullet went directly in her forehead and directly out the back of her head. Yeah. Correct? So that means at the time that gun went off, it was aimed directly at her. No further questions, Judge.
Then a brief redirect.
So Mr. O'Neill asked you if you intended to pull the trigger.
I did.
Did you intend to shoot Polina?
No.
Did you intend to discharge that weapon?
No.
You thought it was going to click. No further questions.
The jury then had some questions for Dale.
Had he cleaned guns in front of Polina before the night in question?
No.
Were you standing or sitting when gun went off?
I believe I was sitting.
He stated drinks were 2 for 1, so they had 6 drinks instead of 3.
No, I bought 6 drinks total, 3 each.
Why was her hand in front of her face at time of accident?
I have no idea.
At some point, defendant said, forgot it was loaded. Now he says he knew it was loaded. Why the change?
I don't believe I ever said it. I knew it was loaded. I remember hindsight that I put it together the normal way I would put it away, and I forgot I did that.
What do you mean, I knew better and I shouldn't have let this happen?
I should have changed something to keep this from happening. Should have been sitting across from each other.
In his closing arguments, prosecutor Tucker O'Neill told the jury that the prosecution had proved their case.
What was one of the first questions I asked a member of the jury when I got up here on cross-examination? So when you had that gun in your hand and it went off, you intentionally pulled the trigger. Yes, an intentional act. That's where our job is done. I don't have to prove that he intended for that gun to go off. I don't have to prove that he intended for that bullet to hit Polina Wright and for it to kill her. It's extremely unfortunate what happened that night. I'm not disagreeing with that. And I'm not disagreeing that this was unavoidable and other decisions could have been made to where we weren't here today. But unfortunately, no matter how anybody feels about the situation or how that went down last night, does not change the circumstances of the law, the facts, and what the law requires for me to prove, and for you guys, when you go back to deliberate, what you have to decide whether we proved or not.
He said Dale's demonstration of how he was cradling the firearm while he pulled the trigger isn't consistent with what happened.
Holding it up to your head to hear if there's a click, but shooting Polina Wright dead center in the forehead, not consistent with what the evidence was showing us. What is consistent is what he told law enforcement, what he told the 911 operator, what he told Detective Kernan, what he kind of a little bit told us tonight, or today, dry fire exercises. We heard a little bit about that training. One of the first things we do as law enforcement is we do dry fire exercises. And one of those reasons why we do dry fire exercises is practicing how to acquire a sight picture, how to aim down a gun and get our target, how to see it. When we're at the gun range doing our trainings, we take those guns, we aim right at our target.
He brought up the injury to Polina's hand.
I'll be the first person to tell you. I know Mr. Taddy will probably say the same thing. No, Dr. Lange cannot tell you, any way, shape, or form, what Polina Wright was doing with her hand moments before she got shot. That's a question for you guys to determine and for you guys to figure out. However, based off the circumstances, the evidence and testimony been provided, I would submit that one way is that the defendant was pointing the gun at her, and a natural reaction by most people, don't point that at me. Hey, don't point at my face. Because we know where it was aiming. Hey, don't do that. The person being taught how to safely use, own, and operate firearms was the one that night who had the common sense to go, don't point it at my face. Not the person with the years of experience, the years of training, familiarity with firearms.
In his closing arguments, Dale's attorney told the jury that the statement Dale made to police about how they were pointing the guns at each other was all investigators focused on, and it was made right after the worst moment of his life, while covered in his girlfriend's blood.
While his head is swirling between grief, anger at himself, and disbelief for the situation he found himself in. A couple hours later, when Detective Kern went straight to that statement, Dale said, no, not pointing at each other, pointing in the general direction. And it's on the tape. Watch it. Okay? The pointing at each other thing should have died a quick death right there. Because he explained, no, that's not what we were doing. He has never, ever said we were pointing guns like this, aiming at each other. There is absolutely no evidence that that ever happened.
He said what happened to Polina was a tragedy.
It shouldn't have happened. It makes you angry. Makes me angry that a mistake took the life of a beautiful young woman. But you can't use anger. You gotta leave that one outside.
He asked the jury to find his client not guilty of manslaughter.
In this case, as difficult as this is, as terrible as what happened is terrible, there is no evidence that my client is guilty of manslaughter. He made a mistake. He'd be the object of a whale of a lawsuit. But he's not guilty of a crime.
The jury deliberated for about an hour and a half before finding Leslie Dale Boileau guilty of manslaughter. At the sentencing hearing, Polina Wright's loved ones spoke to the court. Her older sister, Rebecca, told the judge how devastated she is by the loss of Polina. She said not only did she lose her sister that day, but she lost a version of her family that she will never get back. And she lost a version of herself. Then she spoke about something she came to realize about her sister's relationship with Dale.
How did I know that it was Dale who killed Polina? There are a million tiny changes in Polina in the short years she knew Dale. She never spoke a word against him. She never told me he was hurting her. She never told me really anything at all about their relationship. But when I poked and prodded as sisters do, it always alarmed me at how little she would say. It wasn't what she said, it was what she didn't say. I had no evidence that Dale was coercively controlling her, emotionally manipulating her, or physically abusing her. But what I did have was a weird sinking suspicion and intuition that my sister was in danger. After she was killed, I found the evidence. Her journals, her friends who saw the strange bruises. It will always haunt me that I never had the opportunity to help her escape.
Ms. Baker, I do want to interrupt. It's inappropriate for me as a judge to consider allegations of criminal conduct that the person has not been charged with and convicted of at sentencing. I understand that you're reading from a prepared statement, but because I can't consider them, it would also be inappropriate for me to hear them. If you're able to, as reading your statement, anybody else in the family who has a statement to read, not read those portions, so that I'm not put in a position where somebody could say that I have considered something inadmissible. That would be much appreciated.
Okay.
Continue.
Two days before Polina was killed, we chatted on FaceTime for a long while. She made silly faces at my son. She told me about how excited she was for her future. We planned to have her come and visit me where I live in the state of Maryland. We just had the best little chat. That call plays over and over and over in my head. Could I have said something to save her? My family and I will grieve for a lifetime. However, we do not grieve without hope. We grieve with the knowledge that Polina is in the arms of her Savior, Jesus Christ. Polina, I know I will be seeing you.
Paulina's twin sister also talked about her loss, saying that she was constantly reminded of the evil way Polina was taken for no reason.
I am now left to celebrate birthdays on my own. I am left to blow out Paulina's side of the candles on our birthday cake. A day that's supposed to be filled with life and celebration is now a day I mourn and wish to never celebrate again.
Dale also spoke.
I've gone over and over in my head about how blind I could have been to allow this situation to unfold. Comes down to me being complacent, prideful, arrogant, and overconfident. And I know I can't make up for what happened that night, but I'm going to do my best to make a difference. And I'm truly sorry to both families.
After a 10-minute recess, the judge came back with his decision.
All right, before I propose this, I want to make clear for the record what evidence I am not considering. I am specifically declining to consider the portion of any statement written or delivered in court this morning that refers to uncharged acts committed by Mr. Boileau.
He told Dale the maximum sentence he could receive is 30 years. The minimum was just over 12 years, but that he is able to consider a downward departure from that.
I do find that the greater weight of the evidence has established that this was an isolated incident committed in an unsophisticated manner for which you have shown remorse. As such, a sentence of less than 12.125 years could be lawfully imposed. But simply because a downward departure sentence can be imposed does not mean that it must be imposed. The question before me today, then, is, should I depart?
He went on to praise Dale's service as a law enforcement officer for 8 years, saying it was a solemn promise to protect others at the risk of his own life. He said by all measures, Dale did that well and honorably.
You know what it's like to put on a bulletproof vest each morning, knowing that your day may bring you face to face with mortal danger at the hands of a person who may seek to use a firearm to end your life. Most people don't know what that's like. Your service will be recognized today as a mitigating factor, as will your record of good character and the good that you did in this community until September 19th of 2024.
He said, however, that one cannot simply ignore the other side of that coin.
You, more than most, understood the power of a firearm and the responsibility that comes with holding one. Putting on your vest every day was also a reminder that firearms are deadly weapons capable of ending life. You were trained. I've looked through your training records. They were admitted into evidence during the trial. You were highly trained how to handle firearms safely, to protect innocent life, and to avoid taking it. Your training records speak for themselves. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. You knew all of that, and you knew to never point your weapon at anything you did not intend to shoot. But, despite all of that, on September 19th, 2024, you pointed a rifle at Ms. Wright, pulled the trigger, shot her between the eyes, and killed her. Afterward, you had what appeared to be the audacity to cast blame upon her because she asked you to teach her how to use firearms. She was innocent. It never should have happened. I could say that it could have been prevented, but that would imply it was simply an accident. It was more than that. It was senseless, reckless, and criminal. There will be no winners in the courtroom today. You have brought loss to everybody here, and none of their lives will ever be the same. Polina Wright lost her life in the promise of all that it could have been. Her family very clearly lost a lifetime of memories they will never get to make. And even your family, they have to live with having you in their lives in the way that they deserve. And your actions and your choices are to blame for all of that. Mr. Boileau, you are going to lose your freedom today. The totality of the circumstances in this case do not warrant a downward departure sentence, and I will not exercise my discretion to impose one. I will, however, try to achieve some measure of justice here, with an understanding that true justice would be restoring what was lost, something that is far above what I have the power to do. Every life has worth beyond measure, and every act has a consequence. Your act of taking Miss Wright's life in the manner you did is no exception. It is a crime, and for it you will be punished. Accordingly, as to the offense of manslaughter with a firearm, you will be adjudicated guilty. You will be sentenced to 25 years, 8 months, and 20 days in the Department of Corrections. You will receive credit for 47 days served.
25 years in prison for 25 years of Polina Wright's life. And that's all for this episode. Thanks again for listening. Until next time.
Pluto TV has thousands of free movies and TV shows.
What? This is the mindset.
Free.
This is the mantra.
Free.
This is the mindset.
With movies like Joe Dirt, Pixels, and 50 First Dates.
This is awesome.
And TV shows like Survivor, SpongeBob SquarePants, The Fairly Odd Parents, and Ghosts. Pluto TV is always free.
Huzzah!
Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
You're welcome.